Hi guys, welcome back to another video this week at 11 Off the Land. It finally feels like spring is here. We've got a million things going on. We just planted some potato bags today, as well as recycled into feed bags. We got a couple other videos coming up on that. And spring for us also means a lot of mushrooms here in the Pacific Northwest. We're in the Gulf Islands on the west coast of Canada. And today we're going to be showing you how to grow mushrooms in a bucket. The kind of standard way to do it is in a 5-gallon bucket, but we are going to be reusing one of our grow blocks, which is, if you are ordering mushrooms online for the first time or starting out, is generally how you're going to get your mushrooms. So you get a grow block like this, and they kind of have X's on them normally, and you cut them open and you let them fruit. So we've already got a fruiting off of this that we'll just show you a quick photo of here. And now, if we left this alone, we'd probably get another second fruiting off it, but it's not going to be as big, and we don't just want to waste this. We paid money to have this shipped here. So we're going to recycle this into one of these mushroom grow buckets and go through this whole process with you and show you how you can keep this cycle going over and over again to keep mushrooms all year round. So first step is to have a 5-gallon bucket, or sorry, this is a smaller one. Normally we use a 5-gallon bucket. But to take one of these and drill some holes in it. I've already put a drainage hole in the bottom, and we're just going to put a couple other ones in the side, and these are the holes that the mushrooms are going to grow out of. I have a 1/2-inch drill bit on here, and when you see it, it's going to look super small, but you'll see in some photos later on that you actually get big fruitings of mushrooms that will come out of these tiny holes once we've got these stocked up. So I'm going to put a couple holes in here. And you don't need too many, but you want them kind of spread out around the bucket so they have lots of different options for where they're going to pop out of. You also want to make sure you have a clean bucket. Mushrooms don't like a lot of dirt and don't like to compete with other things like bacteria that may cause issues for your mushrooms. So definitely make sure you have a clean bucket. Another important step is that we did last night, so you want to do this about 24 hours ahead of time, is soak some straw in water. You want it kind of fully submerged so that it's getting nice and wet. And you also want to add some lime in there, which is just going to kind of kill off any bacteria and sanitize your straws, again, so your mushrooms aren't competing with anything. And we'll just throw up on the screen here the calculation for how much lime you need to put in for how much water. So this straw here has all been soaking overnight. So we're just going to do a bit of a drain off to get all the water out of there. And again, it's really important to make sure you put a drainage hole in the bottom. You don't want too much moisture in here. You definitely want it damp and soaked, but you don't want so much that it's going to be kind of sitting in a pool of water at the bottom. So to start off, you're going to want to put a single layer of your straw all along the bottom here. Probably only about an inch and a half or so. And then what we're going to do is break down our mushroom block that we've already used, and we are going to layer this throughout this bucket as we continue to add layers of the mycelium here that we're now going to use as spawn, and layers of the straw. And if you're in Canada, we've gotten these mushroom blocks from a company called Mushrooms Etc., which has been really good and reliable for us. So we'll put their link down below as well if you guys wanted to order your own blocks. So we're just going to kind of break some of this off here and sprinkle that in around the straw. You don't need to break it down too much, and you do want some good kind of chunks of the mycelium in there. So break it down a bit, but don't break it down so that it's too crumbly. And then we're just going to add another layer of straw. Another layer of spawn. And you want to push it down a little bit, but you don't want to compact it too much. You want some air and some circulation to get through there. So definitely pack the straw down a tiny bit, but don't compact it as hard as you can. And we're gonna get our last bit in here, and then we're gonna put a final layer of straw on the top. So you do want that top layer and the bottom layer to be straw. And that is pretty much it. So what we're gonna do next is put a lid on this. We're gonna put it down in our basement. So you want it in a dark, cool place. You don't want it out in direct sunlight. Don't leave them outside. Put them in your shed or in a basement somewhere that's a little bit cooler and it isn't gonna get a lot of light. We're gonna cover that with a lid and over the next 14 to 21 days, that mycelium in there should spread throughout this entire bucket, and about after that time period, you'll start to see little mushroom fruits forming and coming out of one or two of the holes. They probably won't come out of all of them, but you'll start to see some coming out of the different holes. At that point, it's really important to mist them. So you want a little spray bottle that once you see those first little mushroom fruits, that you're gonna be spraying those on a daily basis. And once those sprout, they actually come really quickly. So from the time that you first spot them to the time they're ready to pick is probably only gonna be anywhere from kind of 3 to 5 days as they grow really quickly with that. So super easy trick. We'll show you one of our old mushroom buckets here that we did a while ago that was also pearl oyster mushrooms. If you want to try this yourself, check out Mushrooms Etc. And order one of those fruiting blocks that you'll get some fruit from right away, and then you can make them into these bigger buckets here. Again, just be careful with how much spawn you're using for the bucket size. One of those blocks wasn't enough to do a full 5-gallon bucket, which is why we've done the smaller one. Again, we can keep upsizing this, so once this one's done, then we can take this and do the same process into a bigger 5-gallon bucket and just keep that cycle going over and over again, which is great. So I hope you found that useful. Please help us out and like and subscribe below, and stay tuned this spring for more kind of tricks on mushroom buckets, as well as potato bags and gardening and lots of other things that we have going on. We'll see you next week.